most disturbing video that comes in today from the Agnipath protest comes from Secunderabad. We see that cops have fired. Eventually, they resorted to firing rubber bullets at those protesters, only to disperse them from the Secunderabad police station, the railway station from Secunderabad. In fact, 13 were injured. One, unfortunately, as our latest report says, has succumbed to the injuries of the rubber bullet. Rakesh has died, his family now demanding compensation. Now, hundreds of protesters stormed the station in Secunderabad in the form of demonstrations against the newly rolled out Agnipath scheme. The situation got worse as protesters resorted to stone pelting. They then forcibly entered the railway station, resorted to vandalism by destroying shops and public property across that platform. Let me quickly cut across to Fronia, who's still with us. Fronia, you are showing us visuals of the police deployment. We're looking at RAF as well right behind you. This was a riot-like situation. Anyone could have been injured. The common man there were literally, the public itself was held at ransom because of these protests. What kind of arson did we see through the day today? And give us an understanding if the government attempted by any way. We know that the TRS government is opposing the Agnipath scheme themselves, but did the government by any chance try and convince those army aspirants or those protesters that this is not the way to lodge your protest? There are peaceful ways to put your word across, but this was uncalled for.
Absolutely. So the team of India Today has been deployed here at the railway station since morning, and all we could see was very gruesome visuals of large fires blowing up from the bogies and the trains that were torched by the protesters, angry mobs. And it was a very chaotic situation, a very violent situation that was across the railway station since morning. And unfortunately, there were many people who were hurt, injured badly, two of them who were rushed to emergency, and one among which succumbed to the injuries is the latest development that we know. And right now you see visuals of the rapid action force that has been brought into action, because a lot of protesters who still they denied to move away from action, even on the police requesting them to leave the police station, because to leave the railway station, because the amount of chaos that was caused to the trains, the damage that was caused was humongous. So even after the agitators did not move off, the rapid action force had been brought into action.
Well, Fronia, thank you very much for joining us on that. But what we see behind Fronia there, visuals rampantly of police deployment. The RAF have now marched across the streets of Secunderabad, trying to quell those protests that turned so violent. Unfortunately, 13 injured, one succumbed in police firing. The police had to resort to rubber bullets only to stop these protesters from carrying out large-scale vandalism on public property. In fact, on Friday morning, in a matter of hours, from Patna to Secunderabad, anti-Agnipath protesters vandalized over 9 railway stations. They torched trains, reduced stations to rubble, put passengers' life at risk. Here's a quick look at those stations and how they look before and after the arson, right after they were set on fire by protesters. We see how angry mob went berserk at Secunderabad railway station, protesting against the government's new Agnipath scheme. Hundreds of army aspirants vandalized railway stations. The protesters indulged in large-scale stone pelting, set fire to many of those bogies of that train. Protesters also damaged other properties of the railway station. Many shops across the platform were vandalized. Many of those owners were literally chased away. And then in Bihar's Lakhisarai station, once bustling with passengers, now stands completely vandalized. Those are the visuals that you see coming in from Bihar. Lakhisarai, mob set 3 trains on fire there, destroyed the station, burnt tires on the railway tracks. And then anti-Agnipath protesters set an entire train on fire in Uttar Pradesh's Balia. The mob went berserk, quite on a rampage, destroyed the station there as well. The mob brazenly demolished the public property, and many of them were detained. Unfortunately, the damage was done. And then on Friday morning, you saw a mob that went completely berserk on a rampage in Bihar's Ara, ransacked the railway station there. Protesters set the train on fire, went on to vandalize railway tracks as well. The station now stands in complete ruins. Let me quickly cut across to the reactions coming in from the Railway Minister, as we saw that the army aspirants and many of the other unemployed youth jumped in to protest in such a manner where they targeted railway stations through and through. Let's have a listen.
मेरा निवेदन है सभी से, रेलवे आपकी संपत्ति है, राष्ट्र की संपत्ति है, इसको किसी भी तरीके से कोई नुकसान ना हो, ये हम सबकी जिम्मेदारी है। तो मेरा निवेदन है कि किसी भी तरह के वायलेंट प्रोटेस्ट न करें और रेलवे की संपत्ति को बिल्कुल भी नुकसान न करें। ये आपकी संपत्ति, आप ही की सेवा के लिए है।
सर, किस तरीके से अलग अलग जगहों पर किन स्थानों में रेलवे को रोका गया है, ट्रेनों को रोका गया है और कई ट्रेनों में आग भी लगा दी गई?
जैसा कि आपको पता है, कल कुछ जगहों पे प्रदर्शन हुए थे, रात भर थोड़ा सा पॉज था, आज सुबह 5 बजे से फिर घटना की पुनः शुरुआत हुई है। तो आप लोगों को भी जैसे पता है कि इसका जो घटना का केंद्र बिंदु है थोड़ा सा ईस्ट सेंट्रल रेलवे हमारा वहाँ रहा है। तो टोटल आज के समय 24 लोकेशंस पे एजिटेशंस हो रहे हैं, जिसमें से 17 बिहार के हैं, 2 झारखंड के, 1 मध्य प्रदेश का और 1 हरियाणा का। और जो कोच फायर के केसेस हुए हैं, आपने सभी जगह रिपोर्ट हो रहे हैं। ईसीआर में 4 केस हुए हैं, एनईआर में 1 केस हुआ है और साउथ सेंट्रल रेलवे में 3 केस हुआ है।
ट्रेनें कितनी इस वक्त बाधित हैं, क्योंकि अलग अलग जगहों से, दिल्ली से हो या फिर दूसरे राज्यों में जो ट्रेनें जा रही हैं, वो कितनी संख्या में हैं? कितनी ट्रेनों का रूट डाइवर्ट किया गया है इस पूरे एजिटेशन की वजह से?
सुबह सिचुएशन थोड़ा ज़्यादा ग्रिम थी, अभी पिछले 1-1.5 घंटे में थोड़ा सा इम्प्रूवमेंट हुआ है। जो ट्रेनें हमने डाइवर्ट की हैं, ये की हैं। सिस्टम में इस वक्त लेटेस्ट फिगर जो 1 बजे का है कि 116 ट्रेन के आसपास सिस्टम में ट्रेनें डिटेन हो रही हैं। 35 ट्रेनों को हमने कैंसिल कर दिया है। इसमें 65 ट्रेनें वो भी हैं, अतिरिक्त हैं, जो कि साउथ सेंट्रल रेलवे ने सबअर्बन सर्विसेज कैंसिल की हैं। तो 35 + 65 वो हो गए। 13 ट्रेनों को हमने शॉर्ट टर्मिनेट किया हुआ है। ये
आगे आप लोग जो यात्री अपनी टिकट बुक कराए थे, उनको एक जगह से दूसरी जगह जाना है, उनके लिए किस तरीके का बात कहेंगे? क्योंकि बहुत सारी ट्रेनें डाइवर्ट की जा रही हैं, कई जगहों पर ट्रेनों में आग लगा दी जा रही है, इस वजह से उनको कैसे एहतियात बरतनी चाहिए?
यात्रियों को जो संपूर्ण सुविधाएं मिले, ये हमारी प्राथमिकता है। उसके लिए हम लोग जो ट्रेनें फंसी हुई हैं, जिसमें लॉन्ग डिस्टेंसेस की ट्रेनें जिसमें यात्री अभी ट्रैवल कर रहे हैं, उसमें हमने जगह जगह पर रुकी हुई हैं, उसमें खाने और पानी का इंतजाम करने के लिए संबंधित डीआरएम्स को निर्देश दे दिए गए हैं। और इसके अतिरिक्त जो यात्री आज ट्रैवल करेंगे, हम उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं कि वो ट्रेन का करंट स्टेटस देख करके तभी घर से बाहर निकलें ट्रेन पकड़ने के लिए। हो सकता है ट्रेनें कुछ रीशेड्यूल हों।